The Indian dream is no longer limited by borders. From technology and finance to healthcare and luxury, Indian origin leaders are making decisions that impact billions of lives. These leaders competed at the highest level, built their careers across some of the toughest industries in the world, and earned the trust to lead companies that shape global markets. Today, Indian origin executives are not just participating in the global economy anymore, they are helping lead it. So here are 15 Indian origin CEOs running some of the most powerful and influential companies in the world. And the next time someone asks how far Indian talent has reached, you do not need a long explanation. Just show them this list. Let's count it down. Number 15, Vimal Kapur, CEO of Honeywell. We start with a massive American industrial giant most people don't realize is run by an Indian origin CEO, Honeywell, a company that makes everything from aerospace technology to building automation systems worth tens of billions of dollars. Vimal Kapur, born in India in 1965, studied electronics engineering at the Thapar Institute of Engineering in Patiala. Graduating in 1986, he joined a Honeywell joint venture in 1989 and simply never left, spending 34 straight years climbing the ladder inside the same company. He ran Honeywell's operations in India, then its global process solutions business, then its building technologies division, then its performance materials division, before becoming president and chief operating officer in 2022. In June 2023, Honeywell's board named him chairman and CEO, replacing Darius Adamczyk. This was a homegrown 3-decade career, built patiently from the ground up by an Indian engineer, until he was running the entire company. Number 14, Revathi Advaithi, CEO of Flex. Number 14 takes us to Flex, formerly known as Flextronics, one of the largest electronics manufacturing and supply chain companies on the planet, worth over $25 billion, building components for everything from electric vehicles to medical devices to data centers. Revathi Advaithi grew up moving between Bihar, Gujarat, and Assam before her family settled in Chennai. She earned a mechanical engineering degree from BITS Pilani in 1990, then an MBA from Thunderbird School of Global Management. Here is the thing that makes her story remarkable. She started her career as a supervisor at a factory in Oklahoma, working her way up through manufacturing and operations roles at Honeywell and Eaton for years, learning the industry from the factory floor. In February 2019, she became CEO of Flex, taking direct charge of a company managing supply chains worth well over $25 billion a year. A woman who started out supervising a factory floor is now running one of the largest manufacturing and supply chain networks on Earth. Number 13, CS Venkatakrishnan, CEO of Barclays. Number 13 takes us across the Atlantic to one of Britain's oldest and most storied banks, Barclays. CS Venkatakrishnan was born in Mysore, India in January 1966. He moved to the United States as a child and eventually earned not one, not two, but 3 degrees from MIT, a bachelor's, a master's, and a PhD, all in operations research, with his doctoral thesis focused on air traffic control. He spent over 2 decades at JP Morgan Chase, at one point overseeing roughly $200 billion in fixed income assets as chief investment officer, before joining Barclays in 2016 as chief risk officer. In November 2021, he became Barclays group chief executive, taking the reins of a bank with a history stretching back over 300 years. And here is something genuinely inspiring about his story. In November 2022, he was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin lymphoma. He continued working through his treatment and came out the other side, completing his recovery by March 2023, while still leading one of the biggest banks in the world. Barclays traces its roots all the way back to 1690, making it one of the oldest banking names still operating anywhere in the world, a fixture on Britain's high streets for over 3 centuries, financing everything from the Industrial Revolution to modern global trade. Today, its entire global strategy, spanning consumer banking, investment banking, and wealth management across dozens of countries, is set by a man born in Mysore, an Indian-born banker running a 300-year-old British institution while quietly fighting cancer and winning. Number 12, Sanjay Mehrotra, CEO of Micron Technology. Number 12 takes us into the semiconductor industry, the tiny chips that power literally every phone, computer, and AI data center on the planet. Sanjay Mehrotra was born in Kapoor, India, in 1958 before his family moved to New Delhi. He studied electrical engineering and computer science at UC Berkeley, and in 1988, he co-founded a company you have almost certainly heard of, SanDisk, one of the pioneers of flash memory technology, the type of chip storage that eventually ended up inside almost every USB drive, memory card, and smartphone on Earth. He personally holds more than 70 patents in flash memory technology. He ran SanDisk as CEO for years until it was acquired by Western Digital in 2016. Then in May 2017, he became CEO of Micron Technology, one of the largest memory chip makers in the world, now a critical supplier for the global artificial intelligence boom. In 2023, the semiconductor industry itself gave him its highest honor, the Robert N. Noyce Award, named after the co-inventor of the microchip. Think about how many devices in your own home likely once ran on flash memory technology that trace their origins back to work Mehrotra helped pioneer at SanDisk, before that company was eventually bought by Western Digital in a deal worth over $19 billion. That is the kind of technology legacy he brought with him into the CEO's office at Micron. An engineer from Kapoor, who helped invent the flash memory in your pocket, now runs one of the chip companies powering the entire AI revolution. Number 11. Jayshree Ullal, CEO of Arista Networks. Number 11 introduces you to one of the most successful and most under-the-radar Indian-origin business leaders in the world. Jayshree Ullal was born in London to an Indian family and grew up in New Delhi. She studied electrical engineering at San Francisco State University, then earned a master's degree from Santa Clara University. She spent over 15 years at Cisco, eventually running business units worth around $15 billion in revenue and overseeing roughly 20 company acquisitions, before leaving in 2008 to become CEO of Arista Networks, which builds the high-speed networking infrastructure that powers cloud computing giants around the world. She took Arista public on the New York Stock Exchange in 2014 and has been named one of the top 5 most influential people in the entire networking industry by Forbes and one of Barron's World's Best CEOs. Because she owns a significant stake in the company she has spent over 15 years building, she is now considered one of the richest self-made women in America, with a fortune that has, at times, actually surpassed that of more famous names like Sundar Pichai and Satya Nadella. The entire cloud computing industry runs on infrastructure she helped build. Number 10, Nikesh Arora, CEO of Palo Alto Networks. Number 10 brings us to cybersecurity, protecting the world's data from hackers, ransomware, and cyber attacks. Palo Alto Networks, led by Nikesh Arora. Arora grew up the son of an Indian Air Force officer, attending the Air Force School before earning an electrical engineering degree from IIT BHU Varanasi in 1989. He later picked up a finance degree from Boston College and an MBA from Northeastern University. His career took him through Fidelity Investments, Deutsche Telekom, and then Google, where he spent a decade running European operations and global sales. In 2014, he became president and chief operating officer of Japan's SoftBank, reportedly earning over $200 million in compensation at the time, a Japanese corporate record. Since June 2018, Arora has run Palo Alto Networks as chairman and CEO, growing it into one of the biggest pure-play cybersecurity companies on the planet. In 2023 alone, his compensation reached over $150 million, regularly placing him among the highest-paid CEOs in the entire United States, with an estimated net worth of around $1.5 billion. From an Air Force family in India to one of the highest-paid executives on the planet, protecting the world's data. Number 9, Shailesh Jejurikar, CEO of Procter & Gamble. Number 9 takes us into one of the most iconic consumer goods companies on earth. Procter & Gamble, the company behind brands like Pampers, Gillette, and Tide, found in households across nearly every country on the planet. Shailesh Jejurikar spent years rising through P&G's operations and supply chain divisions, eventually becoming chief operating officer of the entire company. In a major leadership transition, P&G announced he would become CEO effective January 2026, and just months later, in August 2026, he was also appointed chairman of the company's board as the previous chief executive stepped back. This makes Jejurikar one of the newest Indian origin CEOs on this entire list, now running a company with a history stretching back to 1837, worth tens of billions of dollars, and selling products used by literally billions of people around the world every single day, often without even realizing the company behind them is now led by an Indian origin executive. Think about how many of these products are sitting in your own bathroom or kitchen cupboard right now. Diapers your baby cousin wears, the razor your father shaves with, the detergent your mother uses to wash clothes. Number 7 takes us into the world of high fashion and luxury. Chanel, one of the most exclusive fashion houses on earth, is led by Leena Nair. Nair grew up in Kolhapur, India, and trained as an engineer before building a long career at Unilever, eventually rising to become the company's chief human resources officer, a role in which she became known globally as a pioneer in workplace culture and talent development. In 2022, in a move that stunned the fashion industry, Chanel announced that Nair would become its next global CEO. She made history in multiple ways at once: the first woman, the first person of color, and the youngest person ever to serve as CEO of Chanel. Today, she runs one of the most prestigious, most secretive, and most valuable privately held luxury brands in the entire world, blending more than a century of French craftsmanship with a modern, digitally minded, and deeply human leadership style. An engineer from Kolhapur is now the single most powerful person inside one of the most exclusive fashion houses on the planet. Number 6 is not technically a private company, but its influence is so massive over the finances of nearly every developing nation on Earth that it earns its place on this list: the World Bank, led by President Ajay Banga. Ajay Banga was born in 1959 in Khadki, a town in Pune, the son of an Indian Army lieutenant general from a Punjabi Sikh family originally from Jalandhar. He earned an economics degree from St. Stephen's College in Delhi and an MBA equivalent degree from the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad. His career took him through Nestlé, PepsiCo, where he helped launch Pizza Hut and KFC in India, and then Citigroup, before he became MasterCard's chief operating officer and eventually its president and CEO from 2010 to 2020. During his decade running MasterCard, he tripled the company's revenue and increased its net income sixfold. Then, in 2023, he was nominated by the President of the United States and elected President of the World Bank, becoming the first Indian American ever to lead the institution, officially taking office in June 2023. He now oversees development financing that touches the lives of billions. The World Bank exists specifically to fund roads, hospitals, schools, electricity grids, and clean water projects in the poorest countries on the planet, lending out tens of billions of dollars every single year. Every major decision about where that money goes and how development finance gets structured for the world's most vulnerable nations now runs through the office of a man whose own father wore an Indian Army uniform. From a military family to tripling MasterCard's revenue, to now steering the World Bank itself. Number 5 takes us to one of the original giants of American computing, IBM, a company whose history stretches back over a century. Arvind Krishna was born in West Godavari district, Andhra Pradesh, to a Telugu family. His father served as a major general in the Indian Army. He earned his undergraduate degree in electrical engineering from IIT Kanpur in 1985, then a PhD in electrical engineering from the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. He joined IBM's famous Thomas J. Watson Research Center in 1990 and spent 18 years deep in research before moving into general management, eventually rising to lead IBM's entire cloud and cognitive software division. In January 2020, IBM announced Krishna would become CEO, officially taking over in April 2020 from Ginni Rometty. He is widely credited as the driving force behind IBM's massive $34 billion acquisition of Red Hat, the largest acquisition in IBM's history, which repositioned the company around hybrid cloud computing and enterprise AI. In 2021, industry publication CRN named him the single most influential executive of the year. A research scientist's son from Andhra Pradesh now leads a company that helped build the earliest computers the world ever used. Number 4 brings us to the platform you are almost certainly using to watch this exact video right now. YouTube, led by CEO Neal Mohan. Mohan's parents came from Lucknow, India. His father, Aditya, immigrated to the United States in the early 1970s to pursue a PhD in civil engineering at Purdue University. And Neal himself later shared a detail that says everything about his family's journey. My father landed in U.S. with $25 in his pocket. Neal was actually born in Lafayette, Indiana, and his family moved back to India for several years during his childhood before returning to the U.S., where he studied electrical engineering and later earned an MBA, both at Stanford University. He joined an early advertising technology company called DoubleClick, which Google acquired in 2007, and spent years building Google's advertising business before becoming YouTube's chief product officer in 2015, where he helped build YouTube TV, YouTube Music, YouTube Premium, and YouTube Shorts. In February 2023, he was named CEO of YouTube itself. A man whose father arrived in America with $25 now runs the single largest video platform ever built, watched by billions of people, including you, right now. Number 3 takes us to the company behind nearly every piece of creative software on Earth: Photoshop, Premiere Pro, Acrobat. Adobe, led by Shantanu Narayen, the longest-serving Indian origin CEO on this entire list. Narayan was born in Hyderabad in 1963, earned his engineering degree from Osmania University, then a master's from Bowling Green State University in the U.S., and an MBA from UC Berkeley. He worked at Apple, then Silicon Graphics, then co-founded an early digital photo-sharing startup before joining Adobe in 1998. He rose steadily through the company, becoming president and chief operating officer in 2005, and finally CEO in December 2007. That means Narayan has now been running Adobe for nearly 2 decades, longer than almost any other major tech CEO on Earth, Indian origin or otherwise. Under his leadership, Adobe made the historic shift from selling boxed software to a cloud subscription model, expanded aggressively into digital marketing technology, and in 2018 crossed $100 billion in market capitalization for the very first time, joining the Fortune 500. In 2019, the Indian government awarded him the Padma Shri, one of the country's highest civilian honors. Nearly 20 years running one of the most important software companies on the planet. We are almost at number 1. But first, number 2 belongs to a name that needs no introduction: Satya Nadella, chairman and CEO of Microsoft. Satya Nadella was born in Hyderabad in 1967 into a family where public service ran deep. His father was an officer in the Indian Administrative Service, and his mother was a Sanskrit lecturer. He grew up playing cricket, a sport he is openly credited with teaching him collaboration and strategic thinking. He earned an electrical engineering degree from the Manipal Institute of Technology, then moved to the United States for a master's degree in computer science from the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, followed later by an MBA from the University of Chicago. He joined Microsoft and spent over 2 decades climbing through the company, eventually leading a division worth $19 billion, where he championed Microsoft's massive strategic shift toward Azure cloud computing. On February 4, 2014, he was named Microsoft's 3rd ever CEO, following Bill Gates and Steve Ballmer, and became chairman as well in 2021. The numbers under his leadership are almost unbelievable. As of late 2023, Microsoft's stock had grown nearly tenfold since he took over, after 14 years of the stock barely moving at all. He led the acquisitions of Minecraft's parent company Mojang for $2.5 billion, LinkedIn for $26.2 billion, and GitHub for $7.5 billion, while rewriting Microsoft's culture around empathy and growth, and even declaring Microsoft loves Linux. reversing decades of corporate rivalry. In 2022, India awarded him the Padma Bhushan, one of its highest civilian honors. An engineer from Hyderabad turned one of the most valuable companies in human history into an even bigger one. The name that has become the face of Indian leadership on the world stage. Sundar Pichai, CEO of Google and its parent company, Alphabet. Sundar Pichai was born in Madurai, Tamil Nadu, in 1972, and grew up in Chennai. His father worked as an electrical engineer, his mother as a stenographer. He completed his schooling in Chennai, including his final years at a school located inside the IIT Madras campus, before earning a degree in metallurgical engineering from IIT Kharagpur in 1993. He went on to earn a master's degree from Stanford University and an MBA from the Wharton School, where he was named both a Siebel Scholar and a Palmer Scholar, two of the most prestigious academic honors a business student can receive. He joined Google in 2004, and over the following decade, quietly became one of the most important product leaders in the company's history. He led the development of Google Chrome and Chrome OS, helping turn Chrome into the most used web browser on the planet. He oversaw Gmail, Google Drive, and Google Maps. And in March 2013, he took over Android as well, giving him control of the operating system running on billions of smartphones worldwide. On August 10, 2015, Google announced Sundar Pichai would become its next CEO, officially starting the role that October, right as the company restructured itself under a new parent company called Alphabet. Then in December 2019, he was named CEO of Alphabet itself, taking over from co-founder Larry Page, putting him in direct control of Google Search, YouTube, Android, Chrome, Google Cloud, and the company's aggressive push into artificial intelligence through products like Gemini. Time magazine has named him one of the 100 most influential people in the world multiple times, including its dedicated AI 100 list. And in 2022, India awarded him the Padma Bhushan, one of the nation's highest civilian honors, recognizing his contributions to global trade and industry. Think about the scale of what this really means. A boy from Chennai, schooled in Tamil Nadu, trained at an Indian engineering college, now controls Google Search, where 1 billion people find information every single day. He controls Android, the operating system inside the majority of smartphones on Earth. He controls YouTube, the platform you are watching right now, and he controls the direction of Google's entire push into artificial intelligence, one of the most consequential technologies of our generation. Android, YouTube, Chrome, AI, all of it under one CEO who grew up in India. And that is number one. So there you have it. 15 global companies worth trillions of dollars combined. This is the direct result of decades of disciplined education and a culture that pushed millions of young Indians to dream far bigger than the resources they often started with. If this list gave you even one moment of pride, hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss out on more videos like these. I will see you in the next one.